All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my rack series. This week, I've got another cool rack for you, the Magduit Grain, and it's fun. I'm gonna go ahead and go over this, but first, let me show you what it sounds like with all of the different racks that we have heard over the past few weeks put together. So here we go. You guys get the idea? So let me first turn off everything and we'll just go over the grain rack so you can hear that on its own. And then I'll go over the knobs as well. So the grain rack is pretty cool. It utilizes Ableton grain delay, which I have been a big fan of. But it's got a couple of knobs that I have found to be useful just to have it like set up and ready to go, not have to go into grain delay. Plus, it's just got some added features that I almost constantly use. So it's saved me some time. So basically the first knob is a crossover knob. What this does is it determines what is being led into the grain delay. So the higher it is, the less is going into the grain delay. And then as you lower it, it's basically a high pass where you're letting in more of those frequencies. So I don't have a dry wet knob on this because I utilize this as the dry wet most of the time. Very rarely will I ever want a ton of low frequency content in this delay just because it ends up just muddying up the mix. But honestly, that's just my own personal take. If you ever feel like you want to add more low end content, you can always go in here and adjust this EQ. But anyway, let me go ahead and show you how that works. So with it up all the way, you'll just hear the piano with nothing else. I'll just go here. But as you lower this, you'll start to hear more and more of those frequencies enter the grain delay. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. The next knob over here is the grain delay frequency. So this is essentially the time between each delay. It's not a huge difference between each one, but I thought having this knob here was nice just to be able to fine tune it to really give it unique textures if you're using multiple of these, or just to make it just feel better depending on how you enjoy hearing it. So the lower millisecond amount means there's going to be less time between each one. The higher millisecond amount means more time. And it's obviously only goes up to 128, so it's not like a massive difference, but it's worth using. I think one thing that's worth mentioning, if you do want to change this over to the synced version, you can just open up the grain delay here and switch the time to sync, and then you can just go in here and click on any of these to make it sync to your project, which can sometimes be helpful. But I usually have used this without that. I usually use it as a texture additive thing, not so much a true delay. But you can use it as a delay. That's one of the things that is cool about it. So yeah, we've got that knob. So let me go over to the OTT knob. That's a classic knob. It's something I put in a lot of my racks just because a lot of my racks have these very soft, almost barely noticeable timbral textures to them, and this helps just accentuate those. So you'll have more of that. Here, I'll show you. So without it, you can kind of hear it. But like, let's say that, right? Like, I want to bring out more of those bubbly, kind of grainy sounds. So, and the more you pull up this OTT, you can hear it kind of bring those out. Then we got a width knob. That's a classic thing as well. Just going to adjust the width. So with it all the way, let me just make sure this is all the way wet. So with it all the way wet, you can see with 0% width, you've got nothing. But with full width, so you can see down here in my stereo meter here, you can see it works great. That's helpful just for getting it to sit right in the mix. Then we've got a reverb feedback. Sorry, no, this is the delay feedback, but the delay feedback essentially dictates how long that delay is going to go on for. So if it's at 0%, and you can hear how long that goes on for if it's up. And then we've got a pitch knob here, so this is affecting the pitch of the grain delay. So whether you want it at, you know, just this, if you double click it, it'll just go back to 0. So this is just the same exact sound as you're putting in. Or if you want it to be pitched down or pitched up, you can even have it pitched down, you know, or up like a specific amount that's interesting, like 7 semitones or something like that to get a fifth, or... Sounds a little bit wacky, but on certain sounds it sounds really cool. It just depends on the use case. But yeah, the pitch knob is there for people who want to mess with that. You can also just adjust it octaves at a time. So it's pretty cool. You can like make your sound just have more low end by using this. And then we got a spray knob. The spray knob is pretty interesting. From my understanding, what it does is it adjusts the timing of each grain that is being delayed. So that way you have a more, I shouldn't say washed, but it's a lot less like on the exact same time where the delay is going to be hitting. So you end up being able to notice each individual delay more easily. So if this, let me just put this back to... So you can hear that like really well there. How it's just like almost spreading it all out, almost smushing it across like this spectrum of time, which allows you to create a little bit more, well, I guess, smooth vibes, which can be good. Like it's a little bit more of a reverb in that situation. And then yeah, I put in a built-in reverb here. This is just because I feel like it sounds really nice with the reverb. Of course, you can always go in here and go to the hybrid reverb and adjust that however you want. You can mess around with the parameters here, or even input your own sample and switch this blend knob over here to whatever you want. I just have it on the dark hall algorithm, and yeah, I just have a specific decay amount and size amount. You can always go in here and mess with it, but by default, I just usually have it set to that. So yeah. That's pretty much the whole thing. And then with the combination of other racks that I've put out so far, it sounds really cool because you can get very full sounds with these racks together. Yeah, that is Magduit Grain. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's episode. As per usual, like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Subscribe to the Patreon. It's free. And yeah, I'll be here next week with another cool rack. So until then, keep making music and stay awesome. Don't forget that part. Peace.